I have lots of videos up on my channel for long-term anxiety, for just reducing anxiety or reducing stress in your life and promoting more calm in your life. But I want to make a more emergency video for you guys. If you guys are feeling very anxious and you want to kind of calm down in the moment, what are we going to do today? So this is going to be that video. I'm going to get right into it. The first step that I have for you guys is to focus on the short term. So what focusing on the short term does is it takes the pressure and the burden off of your shoulders for what's going to happen next month, next year, in 10 years. And you're just focusing on the right now. You cannot help others. You cannot help yourself if you are not all right. Okay? So we need to focus on just you getting all right now. So ask yourself the question of what's going to make me feel better in the next 10 minutes, in the next hour. And then gradually, as your nervous system starts to regulate, now you can start focusing on how am I going to feel better in the next day? What am I going to do for the next week? Okay? What's my plan for the next month? But right now, we want to focus it down to the short term. So just asking yourself this question of how am I going to regulate my nervous system in the next 10 minutes? Okay, let's start out with that. A couple ways I've let you guys know if you guys watch some of my lives. I've talked about a few of these things and you guys seem to love these tips for short-term nervous system regulation, which one of them is to put your legs against the wall while you're laying down. This is going to really help kind of calm the nervous system down. Helps with a few other things as well, but nervous system regulation is one of the big ones. Another thing you can do is an awareness meditation. So you're just going to put a little bit of distance between your thoughts and feelings that are coming up and your awareness, you, the true essence of who you are, which is your awareness, your spirit. Okay, so you're putting a distance between your thoughts and your feelings and your awareness. So you're just going to kind of visualize these thoughts and feelings coming up, and they're not attributed to you. You are not your thoughts and you are not your feelings either, actually, which is not a lot of people take that concept and apply it also to feelings, but you are just the awareness of these. If you're feeling really depressed, if you are feeling very anxious, you are not anxious and depressed. These are just feelings that are coming up. I want you guys to see it as you are not the feelings of anxiousness. You are not the feelings of depression. You are just the awareness, and the observer cannot also be the observed. So you are not your thoughts. Okay, that's the easiest one for you guys to wrap your head around. The other one that's a little bit harder is you are not your emotions, because emotions come and go based on circumstances and how well you can regulate your nervous system and how strong your coping mechanisms are. But for now, let's just focus on you are not your thoughts. So when these thoughts are coming up, you're just watching them kind of go by like clouds, the stereotypical analogy for thoughts, and you're not attributing to them. You're not attaching to them. You're just letting them kind of pass, and you're just creating distance. Okay, so in the moment, it may feel very hard, but just focus on creating a little bit of distance. So kind of zooming out, and you, your spirit, and your awareness are just a little bit further out. So you can maybe picture your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts in a little bubble, and you're just kind of putting them right around here. So they're still around you, but they're just right here. So they're not within you, they're just right here. So as you progress with this meditation, you're just pushing these thoughts further and further out. Maybe another foot out. Maybe they're a meter away. You're not giving them your attention, but you're also not forcing them to leave. You're just kind of adding distance. Okay? So adding distance allows you to not attribute your identity to these thoughts and feelings. Okay? While you're in the process of this, I want you to label how you're feeling, how dysregulated or anxious or disturbed you're feeling based on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you are okay, you're completely unaffected, you're feeling very good, calm, regulated, like nothing can bother you, and 10 being you feel out of control, and it's like your anxiety is very high, your feeling of disorder and dysregulation is very, very high. Okay, so you're just kind of labeling where you are on that as you're doing these practices. There's a lot of videos out there about how to regulate your nervous system and how to bring everything to a calm, but you have to do a little bit of trial and error with these methods and see what works best for you. The ones that I gave you guys right now are very fast. So let's say you're at work or you're in a social setting or you're at school and you don't have time to put your legs up against the wall. Doing that awareness meditation is almost like the truest form of this meditation, because you are really bringing the truth to the situation. Okay? That's the most important thing, is we want to get to the truth. What is the truth? That you are actually not these thoughts. So if this can bring you some relief, we're putting some perspective that the observer cannot also be the observed. If you are the observer, you are not these thoughts. If you can put that distance in there and then incorporate a few other things. Sometimes what works for one person may not work for others. So like I said, a little bit of trial and error with these methods. You can try a very slow paced stretching where you're holding a stretch for a very prolonged time. Maybe you're holding a stretch for a minute long and you're just kind of breathing through it, putting on your phone timer and just staying centered, staying calm, dropping down into the body and just remembering the truth of the matter that, okay, again, you are not these thoughts, you are not these feelings, okay? Another thing you guys can do is journaling about what you're feeling in the moment, journaling through it, asking yourself, what is it about this situation? What is it about this that is making me so upset? And at least just saying it out on that paper, even if you don't talk to another person about it, if you just at least write it on that paper, you can process it a little bit better than if it's all up in your head and it's too much. If it's too much going on, it's kind of scattered and the thoughts don't have a flow to them. They're just kind of there. So it's better to just write them down. And then as you're writing, you can also ask yourself better questions about, why is this such a trigger for me? Why is this a problem? Why is this making me so upset? Why is this making me so depressed? Why is this making me so anxious? Whatever it may be. Okay. So you're just getting to the root of the problem and you're figuring out the best mode of action as you're kind of processing these emotions. Okay. So that's another method. But again, it doesn't work for everyone. You have to trial and error these methods. Another thing is as you're moving through these methods and as you're recording down your numbers, okay? So let's say you started at a 7 or an 8, and then you did the first method, you put your feet on the wall, you did a little bit of an awareness meditation. Now you're down to a 5 or 6, maybe even a 4, okay? You're recording that number down, maybe on your phone or on a notebook, preferably on a notebook because I didn't really mention it yet, but eliminating extra stimuli and extra information inputs in your brain. So no scrolling during this time. Let's say you're watching this video right now. Don't go and scroll mindlessly unless it's for a specific purpose, like you want to find a video for calming the nervous system down, or you want to watch a meditation, or you want to listen to some nice relaxing nature music, nature sounds. One thing with nature sounds is if you listen to birds chirping, it actually helps regulate the nervous system very, very fast. It puts you into rest and digest because you only hear birds chirping in nature when there's no predators around. That's when they're able to relax, be in their element, and then when someone comes that's kind of scares them all away, you don't hear those birds chirping. If you're ever kind of choosing between what sounds to listen to kind of calm down, I would choose those bird sounds because it's ingrained in us to be in that parasympathetic state, that rest and digest when we're listening to the birds. We're just reminding and priming the brain that it's safe. We're going to be okay. That's it. So now as your number is going down, maybe now it's at a 3, or maybe it's still at a 4, or maybe it's a little bit harder to get down. Maybe it's still at a 5. Wherever it is, you can kind of gauge with how much you need to focus on right now. So if focusing on the next 10 minutes is helpful for you, sticking to that 10-minute interval, then still do that. If you're feeling a little bit better, focusing on the next hour. What can I do to help myself feel better in the next hour? Maybe that is some prayer. Okay, I really love to reach for this practice and it really helps me regulate my nervous system, put me into the parasympathetic state. As you start to feel better, don't jump right into all your regular activities. Just start to take it day by day. And another thing, because we talk about this a lot in lives and I hear a lot of feedback from you guys, I created a emotional regulation course and it's going to be linked in the description. And it's just going to help you guys with emotional regulation at your own pace. So if you don't feel like doing coaching, because I am a health coach and I do help my clients one-on-one, but if you don't feel like you want to have that commitment or you feel like you're just not ready for that, there's an emotional regulation course and you have access to it for the rest of your life, and any updates that I make to it, it's going to be in the description. So you guys can check that out. Okay, so I'm going to end it there because I wanted to make this video very practical and short and not overwhelming. So thank you guys for watching and I will see you guys in my next video.